Good morning, everybody, and this is your DAX day trade setups for today. So just starting off on the monthly, I just want to highlight something here, and you can see the previous all-time high right up here. So you can see there it is there. We're not too far from it, and then you have this bit of structure here to the downside, which is what we've through at the moment. So we are forming a bit of a pin bar, which is a little bit concerning. Just depends how this ends, because then you would see some kind of a drop. But the oscillators are pointing to the upside, so I'm a little bit skeptical about what we're seeing right now. So the minute you start dropping down to the lower time frames, Friday was a bit of a disaster. But the big question here is bottom of range, or is it a validation of a rounding top? Ultimately, we need to drop below kind of this area. If you look to the left, it's quite strong. So we need to drop below this, come back and reject it before we start looking at that from a longer term. So right now, moving averages are up. Oscillators are pointing to the downside, which could indicate a bit more of a move to the downside. But I think what will happen is you'll probably get capped by that trend line. We've already been capped by that trend line. So that's the first thing. Not really that confident that this looks like an exhaustion bar to me rather than anything else. But if we do sort of hover here, just gently just bouncing around lab for a couple of hours or a couple of 8-hour bars, that's going to strengthen the case for the break to the downside. But for me right now, anything's possible. You might as well just flip your coins. Look at the diversions here. Well, sorry, no diversions, but you've got a low grouping of the oscillators to the downside, so that is indicating we're a little bit tired. And obviously we do have a crossover of the moving average here, so there is the potential for a reversal happening, but obviously we want to see that bounce off structure. And you can look to the left, look at the structure here. We closed below that last week, and we are now hovering inside there. So if you drop down to your lower time frames, this is where you're going to see it. So from an hour perspective, we're back in this area. You can see it was quite a strong area a couple of days ago, and now we're sort of in it. It does look like a bit of a flag forming, and I would put in 3 levels here. You can see I'm picking up that tail and I'm picking up that tail, because that is kind of what we're looking for. So now the trick is to drop to the 15-minute, and it looks like after hours we've already had this rejection here, but I would want to see a move to one of these levels during the open, so that 15,282, 15,297 or 15,323, and I'd be looking to be short off those. And what I'm looking to pick up is going to be this trend line here, wherever that drops down to. So it's going to be around the 15,192 area at the moment. Just pay attention to this 15,245 as well. But we do have a gap below, so I would assume it would get below that. And the fact that we're below it already, we closed below it, is something we need to pay attention to. So that is a big weekly level, that 15,245. That's kind of my view at the moment. Not clear that we need to be short. This is just a break of the moving averages, but it's also being below the moving averages, above the moving averages, below the moving averages. So it's a big move, so I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and look for a rejection off one of these levels. And the oscillators are sort of lining up. It does look like a bit of a flag for a second leg down. And ultimately, on the higher time frames, I would want to see a move down into this zone of 14,840, because that's the area that we've broken through. So I'd want to see support here, and we've got a gap here. We've also got the yearly gap to the downside, so that could also act as a magnet, and then there's even more gaps further down. But anyway, I think that's kind of the view I've got at the moment. Reluctant to be long, that's for sure, but I'm also a little bit hesitant to be short just yet until I see a decent rejection. I'm looking for rejection. If you look at this on the hour, the whole of last week and the week before has been a case of above moving averages, below, above, below, above, below, above, below, and that's just the indication of a range. So what we're looking at here is a potential range break, but we need to get in a little bit higher up so we can just protect ourselves and then give it a go, see if we can get a final breakthrough there, and then maybe just sort of trend along this trend line to the downside, so down and then bounce and then just keep carrying on until we get to at least 14,840. So that's kind of my view at the moment. Any long-term holdings that you have here, I'd start protecting that with either some put insurance, so to get onto the options market and buy a few puts. But that's kind of the limit, the level I'd go to at the moment, because this trend is really strong when you look at it on the daily. It's an extremely strong uptrend. So yeah, anyway, that's kind of my view for Dow. I hope it helps you. Just be wary of this. Don't trust that it's going to fall to the floor just yet. You want to see a drop and then a pullback. So it's up until it's not, basically. And if you look at the oscillators on the daily here, we're heading down, but we've been going sideways while it's heading down. So this could still just be buyers coming in here from a range and then pulling up to the top again. Anyway, so be careful. Don't just jump in without a stop loss or a plan. You're going to get burnt. Hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow morning. Cheers for now.